Hey guys, it's Mel. Welcome to my channel. This video is the first of a series that I am planning on making over the next few months, and that is my audiobook journey. So today's video is just going to be basically setting the scene. I'm not 100% sure how frequently I'll be posting these videos, probably every 6 weeks or so. So it'll just be part of my regular uploads. So, what on earth am I talking about? Well, let's set the scene. I'm not really much of an audiobook listener. I never have been, but I'm trying to change that. Partly because everyone on BookTube seems to really enjoy listening to audiobooks, and partly because I finally figured out that audiobooks are a great thing to listen to when you are doing other things, like cooking. It's been a bit of a journey to come to that realization. I'm still not really 100% sure how I actually feel about audiobooks. I'm still testing the waters to see what works for me and what doesn't. So I thought that I might share all of that with you guys. Hence, this series of videos. I don't think I've found an audiobook that actually works for me, and I don't really know whether that's because I've listened to books that I didn't like and I probably wouldn't like if I were reading physically, or if it's a little bit of a thing to do with the narrator. I feel really awful saying that because these people have a job to do and that's their job, but maybe it's because I work in a situation where I read aloud quite often myself. I think that partly it's because of my age, and I don't say that to try and get sympathy or anything like that, or, oh, I'm so old. I could be completely wrong, of course, but I sort of feel like audiobooks have really come into their own since everyone's had access to their own personal technology like an iPad, iPod, iPhone. I've always been kind of behind the times when it comes to technology and everything in general, I guess. For people who've been watching my channel, you'll notice that a lot of the books that I read are kind of backlisted. I don't really read books when they come out, and I've never really been a person that's been particularly up to date with TV either. So it's not really out of the ordinary for me to have been behind the times with technology. Basically, the point being there is that I didn't get a mobile phone until I was about 23. I didn't get an iPod until I was about 27. I've only had my smartphone for about 5 years. That kind of personal technology just really wasn't a thing when I was a kid or when I was a teenager. Because the thing is, you see, I'm nearly 40. My sister, who's 10 years younger than me, she had her first mobile phone when she was about 15. And of course, I only had one a couple of years before that. Now, the kids all come to school with their phones and they hand their phones over to the teachers when they're like 10, 11. Just wasn't a thing when I was a kid. I do of course know that you could listen to an audiobook on tape or on CDs, but like I said, it just wasn't really a thing, and it certainly wasn't something that would make doing things like running or driving to work or walking to work or exercise, going to the gym, or anything like that where you actually had to take the thing physically with you. It didn't make that any easier at all because, like I said, people didn't have their own personal devices that they could take with them. So all of that is to say that it was never a thing that I got into when I was a teenager or in my early 20s listening to audiobooks. Anyway, the point being that I've started listening to audiobooks. In my September wrap-up, I talked to you guys about the fact that I listened to one audiobook, which was The Wife Between Us, and I didn't really gel with it. Because I don't really listen to audiobooks very much, it's really hard for me to know the reason why. It could just be that I didn't like the book, and I'm sort of curious to read it now and see if that's the case. It could be that I didn't particularly like the narrator's tone or the way they chose to express the book. I'm not really sure. So because I was starting this journey, I, of course, went to social media and asked people to recommend how they listen to audiobooks. And a good friend of mine, Beth Aubrey, who is a great Australian actor, sent me a link to a book that she recently starred in as one of the characters on Audible. It's, I think, the first book that Audible did, which not only was a full cast, but actually incorporated various background noise and ambience to try and see how immersive that would be and whether that would be something people would want to listen to. That book is The Invisible Women's Society by Nikki Gemmell. Like I said, it is a full cast of characters, and it also has background noises and ambient noises, so it's more like you're listening to a radio play or something like that. And I'm really enjoying it. Quite some time ago, I listened to Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, which was produced for the BBC as a radio play, and it was awesome, and I really enjoyed listening to that. So I do know that I like radio plays, so maybe this way that Audible is trying out is something I'll enjoy. I've also recently downloaded Daisy Jones and the Six on Audible, so I'm looking forward to listening to that. Quite a lot of people on BookTube have said that they've really enjoyed it, and quite a few people have recommended listening to it on audiobook because of the way that the book is structured. It actually works really well as an audiobook rather than just a physical book. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go. It is also a full cast of characters. At the moment, I'm thinking that I know that I like the full cast, but I wonder if maybe, like we said, it was the narrator or some other reason why I maybe didn't like that book. So what I thought is that I would also download a book that I know that I really like and see whether or not it potentially was the book or whether or not it's the format. Just give that one a go as well. I haven't actually decided which book to download yet, although at the moment I'm thinking that it'll be something potentially by Neil Gaiman or Terry Pratchett, as they are some of my favourite authors and I know that I really enjoy them. Anyway, I just thought that this new book journey for me might be an interesting thing to share with you guys. So if you'd like to keep abreast of my audiobook journey, keep an eye out for the videos as I upload them. Editing Mel here. Just a quick note to add that I will link all of the details for Beth Aubrey as well as the audiobooks that I talked about that she stars in the description below. Anyway, back to the video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.